Trump's insane trip to the brink of nuclear war makes a lot more sense in the context of his plan to control the world's major transportation corridors through none other than the Board of Peace. Let me explain. We need to start by backtracking to last September and the Gaza ceasefire negotiations. Trump then proposed a 20-point framework for this ceasefire. There were two major items in this plan: the complete removal of Hamas and the Palestinian Authority. People tend to gloss over that. And the placement of control of Gaza in the hands of the Board of Peace. Now, the media seems to keep just wondering why Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff seem to be involved in all these negotiations. It's obvious they were named special envoys to the Board of Peace. They're essentially co-secretaries of state, and they were the ones leading negotiations in Gaza. Now, one fact that people seem to always leave out about Gaza is its proximity to the Suez Canal, the closest outside of Egypt. And the Board of Peace is planning on constructing large ports and harbors to accommodate vessels coming from the Suez Canal. In fact, it's the centerpiece of their reconstruction plan. It's not just hotels like you've been told. Now let's travel to January of this year in Greenland. On January 21st at Davos, Trump met with the NATO chief and suddenly dropped his 25% tariff threat on Denmark. And he announced a framework of a future deal for the Arctic. The very next day is when Trump ratified the Board of Peace. And while NATO is handling the security in the Arctic under this framework, the Board of Peace acts as the strategic oversight board for long-term infrastructure and management of the region. This has all been put under something called Arctic Sentry. And so the board is set up to control commercial licensing and toll systems for the Northern Sea route. Okay, now onto the Windward Passage and Yucatan Channel near Cuba. And I know this is a lot, but stay with me. This one is not being managed by the Board of Peace, but by the Shield of the Americas. But there seems to be significant crossover as Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are also involved in these regions. And the Shield of the Americas is the one handling the blockade around Cuba, allowing only those it chooses, like that random Russian ship, to go through. And we've already heard Trump mention the Panama Canal. Alright, now finally back to Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. The 10-point plan here had a lot of similarities to the one in Gaza. The difference, of course, is that Iran is huge and has a modern military. But Trump generally wants the same things, and we've already heard him mention this joint venture that he wants with Iran to control the strait. It should also be noted that Vladimir Putin is weighing participation in the Board of Peace, and he is, of course, an ally of Iran. And so it wouldn't surprise me at all if this joint venture eventually included Russia. If the Board of Peace controls all of the world's major transportation corridors, it can hold the world hostage, kind of like Iran is doing now, but on a much bigger scale. He would be able to negotiate whatever he wants, even if he's not president anymore. You might be hopeful that a Democrat would come in and get rid of this thing, but it would be incredibly difficult to untangle all of these agreements and to rid Trump of the control that he has. Pete Hegseth said it best: they use bombs to negotiate. They don't hide it, the media just doesn't seem to want to focus on it. Iran, though, even though they're an ally of Russia, doesn't just do whatever Russia tells them to do. And so they are formidable on their own, and I don't know if they'll agree to this. In fact, I would tend to think they wouldn't, especially given their theocratic nature. This is a holy war for them. If we do end up moving in further, they'll be much more formidable than anything we faced in Iraq and Afghanistan, especially because we won't have nearly as much support. But if he does end up accomplishing this, and he always seems to, we're in for a world of hurt.